In tune, and thank you for joining us on the Citizens Forum segment of the Daybreak Show. Today, the 10th day in the month of February 2020. I am TOBI Joseph.
And I am SIMIAT ABARU. Good morning.
All right, this morning, like I mentioned earlier, we'll be focusing on the minimum wage as approved by President Muhammadu Buhari, 30,000 naira. Which is the minimum wage. Of course, the talking point 4 months ever since it was approved is that states should actually sit down with labor leaders in the respective states so that they can actually harmonize, they can negotiate the consequential adjustment that is for those earning above 30,000 naira. Last week, Monday, to be precise, the state governor, Prince Adakwabiodo, or let's say the Ogun state government, approved 30,500 naira minimum wage for workers on the payroll of the state government. But of course, details are still scarce. So we have the details, and we'll be looking at the consequential adjustment of this minimum wage, talking about those earning above 30,000. What exactly is the percentage that they will pay to this category of workers from different levels till level 17? Of course, you also want to look at what happens to the arrears of the salaries when that minimum wage was actually signed into law by Mr. President. Is the state government ready to start paying from that particular moment? What is in the details of that negotiation? How did it end after negotiations? You also want to look at the state and plight of pensioners, which is very, very key. What percentage would accrue to pensioners when you place it side by side by this new and improved package of 30,000 naira minimum wage? What about the issue of cooperative deductions? So many other allowances and so many other deductions that have been the norm in recent time when it comes to the emoluments and welfare package of Nigerian workers across the country. But the state, of course, is never an exception when it comes to workers having their fair share of this very discouraging welfare package from the state government. We'll have the man who should know exactly the details of all these negotiations. He has been one of those at the forefront of the negotiations with the state government, and is right here with us in the studio. Of course, we have the chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC, Ogun State Council, in the studio, Comrade Emmanuel Bankole. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here.
Comrade Bankole, let's start with the details. The state government has approved 30,500 naira for those between levels 1 and 6. Am I correct? What about those who are above level 6, 7 till 17?
Well, thank you very much. Once again, I'm happy to be here. We want to thank God the negotiation has come and gone. And for those of us in Ogun State, it was a good bargain. It was a good bargain. Although it was a very long, tortuous journey to victory, but then the end really justified the means. In that, one, just as you have the minimum of 30,000, you know, we were able to get something above the minimum, which is a plus for workers in Ogun State. Beyond the 1 to 6 of 30,500 for the various level, we also have the consequential adjustment also done. For 7, for instance, level 7, we have 27%. This is far above the federal government of 23.2. So, you know, for level 7. For 8, we have 20%, just like we have in the federal. For 9, we have 19, just like we have with federal government. For 10 to 14, we have 15%. This is just a percent lower than what we have. Then for 15 to 17, we have 14, just like we have at federal level. So to us, it was a good bargain.
Now, with this bargain, which of course you have also agreed that it's a very good deal for Ogun State workers, do you have the confidence that the state government can actually pay this minimum wage and it will not lead to salaries not being paid as and when due?
Well, thank you very much. It took about 8 weeks, before we finally agree on this. And in the course of doing this, in the course of this negotiation, we put everything on the table on part of the government, and it was a serious consideration for all this. The ability, the affordability, how, are those things affordable? Then we also look at sustainability. And so, we are confident and we have no doubt that the government is able to, is good to go as per the payments without any problem at all. We also consider the liability, various outstanding issues that the government will see how to do. And that was why, some instances we just have to mellow down and let it go. So
what are these outstanding issues that are yet to be attended to?
Wow, so many of them, so many of them. Like you did alluded to, this is just a phase of the negotiation. You talk about the retirees too. It's a matter of law, and as we have just concluded this, the next phase will have to be to look at how it's going to impact on the retirees, their retirement, the pension benefit. So we are going into that. Beyond this, we also know, I'm sure also aware that we have a number of areas of gratuity that are just people that retire 12, 15, 16, 17, gratuity yet to be paid.
Yet to be paid.
Leave bonus, we have that. So contributed pension running to more than 100 months, the government, the liability that this government inherited. So we consider the totality of all this, and because we want the state to run, we don't want the state to be run aground. So it was the consideration for all this that we have to agree on. So as far as we are concerned, the organized labor of the state, the government will have no problem in ensuring the payment of salaries as at when due with regards to the new the agreement that we just reached with them.
All right, you talked about this agreement being the first phase of it. What happens to the next phase? When are you going to start the next phase of the agreement? Talking about the other issues that you mentioned that needs to be. Okay, third, you've talked about the fact that the initial agreement, which has to do with the consequential adjustment, has been sorted out for level 7 to 17 now. So what happens to the next phase that will take care of other aspects of negotiation?
Well, the other aspect has to do with retirees, the pensioner. And we already on our desk, putting the facts together, alerting government, and then we're going to have a date, to meet again. But before we do this, both sides, we don't want an ambush. We want them to do the needful on their end. While we also do the needful on our end, then we meet, then we can have a reasonable and very wonderful negotiation as per the pensioner. So, beyond what you do in the States, we also waiting signal from Abuja, the NUP national, the NLC national, so that totality of the body. Because I'm aware the pensioners are agitated. In fact, some of them also they wanted this thing to go pari-passu, so they want it. We said
negotiated alongside
together. No, it must be one after the other. It can't be together. Because one is going to take off from product, of the other. So, and I've been assuring them that we're going to take it off as quickly as we can. Just put our house in order. Then we alert government so that they are also prepared.
Okay, now I'm sure during negotiations with the government, Emmanuel Bankole, we can at least have an idea or a figure as to the workforce in Ogun State. Do we have that figure right now? Because before now, it has different relevant stakeholders have been silent on that. Do we have a figure?
Yes, it was on a basis. In fact, we have the figure level by level.
Okay.
So that it was one of those things the government used to know the financial application. So we have all those.
Do you have that?
I may not want to talk about that now. But that was brought before us. We look at this level, how many workforce, the number of. So we look at that, we consider that.
What is the plight of new, what do you call them, ASCON intakes who were, appointed by or employed by the immediate past administration that were complaining for some time now about a lack of salary or regularization of their employment?
By now, I'm sure that the ones have received their alerts, the arrears of all their salaries. It was one of those things that we consider too, because they're going to absorb them permanently, even some PTA teachers from some secondary schools, so all this. So by now, I'm sure those ASCON guys should have received their alerts.
Okay, I think we had a fair share of their barrage of complaints on the station. Definitely they should also let us know if this is the case, talking about whether they've been receiving alerts of the arrears of the salaries. Okay, it's very important that we allow workers, pensioners, there are quite a few who always patronize us. When I say patronize, who always contribute on the show here on Rock City FM. I'm sure they will also want to be part of the discussion. So you can start doing that. You can send your questions, comments or contributions via the short code 32120 or 35131 for non-mobile subscribers.
The Twitter handle is at Rock City FM. The Facebook fan page, Rock City FM 11.9. And yes, the studio lines 08107 860000 and 0701 132 7096. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to know, the third government, when they give salary, the salary go around everywhere. No complain. And when they give the salary, I think the federal government will send more money to the state to pay the worker. Why state government they are complaining that they cannot pay? What is the problem? Why they have a government worker before I retire? I don't hear this type of nonsense for what they are doing. I'm telling you the truth. So what the no problem? Why is it that the government they are complaining their life?
All right, thank you. Ashrak City FM is our Twitter handle. Just stop by and leave your comment on the page. Facebook fan page is Rock City 101.9 FM, and of course our studio lines again 08107 860000 and 0701 132 7096. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I like everyone to take you over the good
morning.
I am right to not do that. The one that can cancel is one of the studies. Many of these that they can see how you appreciate the government. You don't have to do it at the platform. But if you are taking a political side, you are going to see. And I can say back that they are going to see. You are forced to do the much and you have to apply.
No, hold on, Alaji. Hello, Alaji Magrigo. Yes, you were talking about who? By the PTA, okay.
and 0701-132-7096. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to the sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, my name is Collector for the Press. Good morning, Emmanuel Bankole.
Good morning, sir.
You have just mentioned something. I want you to believe to this. I want you to see more. I'm retired. I've started coming to 35 Nigerian years. But doing that federal government, you want me to see what we do for 3 times as regards to your way. Okay, you want to change the show. I can bring my very good friend. You want to retire.
That's the dream of every worker, that one day, you retire and then you sit back and enjoy. So that's our dream. That's a very good worker. So, like I said, this we have law, we have regulation guiding all this. And what is more, it's a matter of law. It's not a thing that either I like it or not, I don't like it, no. But then, it's going to be one after the other. As we speak, NLC is awaiting report from all the states of the Federation. And not all the states have agreed. Some of them are just, they are still negotiating. So they are going to collate this, so that in totality they will look at it. Do we have appreciable number? Where do they have problems? If they have to mobilize to such states, then when we conclude this phase, then we talk about the issue of pension. Because don't forget also, we are going to negotiate in our various states. And the figure, the baseline, will be what has been agreed for those who are working. So you need that take-off point, from the agreement. And that is why conclusion of agreement is very important before we can talk about the issue of pensions, effect on the pension. So just again to reiterate and to assure that nobody is going to be left behind. We're going to carry everyone along. This has been concluded, and efforts, the mechanism is being put in place to ensure that this phase of the pensioners' condition is also seriously taken. Just like the effort that we are put into this, we will also do that to ensure that our pensioners will also have a good day. Somebody just woke up and said, a minimum pension, 5,000. That is why when we want to engage, we are not in a haste to engage. We want to engage constructively with facts and figure. And to say minimum wage of 5,000 is inhuman. And I want to assure people that by the grace of God, we will look into it. And what is more, the government of the day will be wise enough to know that it's in their own interest to take care of these old people, to take care of these senior citizens. So we will engage with them, and we can be sure that we are going to have a wonderful outcome. Practice, just somebody with a brainwave somewhere just waking up and saying, so it cannot stand. There's no law supporting that. So I can assure you, when we engage government accordingly, the money will be refunded to the people. The pressure is now coming from the senior citizens. One can understand. It's just human. Like I said before, I just want to assure you, it's not about anybody's wish or desire. It's about what is just and what is right and what is supported by the law and regulations. NUP is a veritable ally of NLC. They are very strong, ally of NLC. So, and then labor balance, injury to one is injury to all. What is more, it is the desire, the dream of any worker today to also retire and be a senior citizen. So, we are in this together. It's not about what we are going to do for them. I'm assuring you, we are in this matter together. But one thing is, this country in which we are, even the new minimum wage we're talking about was to have been negotiated 3 years ago. But you can see where we are. But our strength, different from what has been happening before, is that in Ogun State, the organized labor, we are together, we are united. Even the achievement, the modest achievement you talk about, the recently signed, it's a collective responsibility, because we bunch together, because we collaborated with one another. That was why we were able to achieve that. And I'm also assuring you, because we have we are determined to be together, to work for the interests of the workers of the state. I want to assure you that the issue of a pensioner will not be an exception. We are going to work together to ensure that the very best is gotten for them. So they should just be at rest. It's not about what we are going to do. We are in this matter together. They are one of those important affiliates of NLC. So we are taking up the matter. They should just bear with us, particularly because of the type of country in which we are. We cannot operate in isolation. We must take cognizance of the type of environment. If not, the negotiation will have been an endless one. By the time you put so many things to the table, I'm just talking about even the other commitment of government to workers. But if you have brought all this to the table, you will just have an endless negotiation. So we must be able to partition this, which one goes first, which one follows, and that I'm assuring you that we are going to address all this with your support and the cooperation by the grace of God.
All right, you're welcome back. It's still Citizens Forum on the Daybreak Show. This is a beautiful Monday morning. And this morning we are looking at the negotiations between the organized labor in Ogun State and the state government that culminated into an agreement of 30,500 naira minimum wage for workers in Ogun State. Of course, the consequential adjustments have also been agreed upon by the negotiation team. We have in the studio the chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress, also Ogun State Council, Comrade Emmanuel Bankole, who has said that what they have right now is a very good deal from the state government. But before we take more contributions on the show, let me quickly find out from Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we need to talk about the arrears. People have asked when exactly will this minimum wage take effect? Is it now, this month of February, that you negotiated the deal? Was it last year? When exactly?
Well, ordinarily, our position, before we went to the negotiation table was April, because the bill was signed into law in April. But after serious consideration of all the facts before us, we gave in, to commencement date of January. So as we speak, practically it means the workers will only have the rest of January.
January this year.
Yeah, so that's where we are.
Okay.
The staff is now is known, but after the negotiation in Ogun State, those were not made public like they did at the federal level. God bless Ogun State. Michael Olusegun again says, could there be the possibility of a labor union who can engage government beyond necessary increase in wages? From my perspective, increase in wages has an implication in Nigeria, and that prices of commodities will adjust to the level of the increase. Colony says, as we are thanking and eulogizing Comrade Bankole, let me pray for the wonderful platform of Rock City FM, which is the solid platform on which this wonderful strides are made. May God Almighty continue to give Rock City FM more enablement in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. Thank you. Akombi Taiwo says, we appreciate your effort on a minimum wage. Please work on having a law that will make the pensioners inclusive in any labor negotiations. Also, speak with the appropriate authorities in reviewing the conditions attached to assessing the National Housing Fund loans. Taning Bola says, good morning, Nigerians. If Nigeria wants to succeed as a nation, we need to take care of the senior citizens. The Bible says, whatever you sow, you will reap. Michael Olusegun again says, you will agree with me unarguably that there are several products and commodities in the market that are made available, but they are unaffordable because the purchasing power of the people are insufficient and inadequate to effectively address their financial obligations. In an economy that is unfriendly and disabled, an economy whose empowerment opportunities are insufficient, can the payment of 30,000 naira influence, impact, or reflect certain improvement and realities? I'm indifferent and particularly not existed on the payment of 30,000 naira as minimum wage. Alright, those are the messages we have on our Twitter handle.
You want to respond, Comrade?
Well, thank you very much. Well, one thing that we need to understand is this. 30,500, as we have in our states, It's not a living wage. It's not the best, you know, that one will have imagined. But considering what we have on ground, it is just what we can do as we are. And what are we talking about? Are you saying we should remain at 18? It's a great leap, no matter how small. 18 to 35, it's a leap, which is better. So to say, and people should not even mistake general salary review with a minimum wage adjustment. This is not general salary review. It is just a minimum wage, and it is done everywhere in the world. It's not peculiar to Nigeria. Even in civilized climate, they always have that baseline. So they should just, where we are today, we are not living in Nigeria of our dream. But as we look towards Nigeria of our dream, we work towards it. It's not a thing that we just sit down and it will come to us. All of us collectively must work for it so that we have Nigeria of our dream. Yes, the minimum wage as it is today is not the best, but then we must have some somewhere, and we start consciously moving towards a direction. You know, so that is our position on that. A lot of things people should know. Like I said here, when you go to negotiation table, you must be able to isolate issue. Because if you go to table with so many things, the chances are that the very important one will be left behind, where those are that. So, and we don't want to have an endless negotiation. So that is why we just, and I'm sure all those issues that are still outstanding, that was why, in fact, one of the reasons that was given serious consideration in our negotiation, that other commitment of government, we will not want to say because they are paying minimum wage, they will not pay those areas. So that is why we have to do, you know, give and take in some areas. So I just want to assure people, and again to reiterate that, look, this modest achievement that we're talking about today, it's not Bankole doing it. It is the collective effort of organized labor in Ogun State, because we work together as a team. It's a teamwork. Yes, to the glory of God, was made the spokesman of the group, but then it's a collective effort that has produced this. And for as long as labor movement remain united, Sky may just be the beginning. So I want to assure our people, we are together, the labor movement of Ogun State, and we are determined to ensure that your interest, welfare at all time, is given premium attention. So we continue to pursue this. So I want to appeal to others. One thing is this: when you go into negotiation, there will be matters arising. There may be need for adjustment here and there. We now isolate where there are problems, and then, but the good thing is that we've had an agreement. We knew the principle of the basis for those things that we agree upon. So if there are problems by way of matters arising, we isolate and then we take it up. So people will just be, what is important is that just let us know in the course of implementation. And this time around, we have even done something different. We have constituted the implementation monitoring committee to ensure that even at the verge of this thing being implemented, we don't have mistakes being made. So they'll be moving with government officials who are to implement, so that we have minimal problem, and when we have them, we quickly look into them and ensure that they are solved, they are resolved.
All right. So someone actually talked about the increase in price of commodities, whether Igbo is also doing something to affect that.
Well, we are in a deregulated economy now. Unlike those days when you have price control board, we don't have that again in the country. This is a free market economy. But the salary is just one of aspects of welfare that the government is expected to do. So what they have talked about National Housing Fund, the state government, we've had some engagement with them. We still follow up about mass housing, you know, low-cost housing scheme for workers. We also talk about car loan. We are going to visit the issue of car loan, housing loan, so that then the issue of roads, not just the main roads alone, because those are things that reduce daily, you know, running cost of individuals. So all this we are going to engage government, and the state government, they're already giving some commitment as per low-cost housing estate for workers. So we are going to pursue all this together, because it's only when we do this that the minimum wage can be meaningful. Also, this government has also given a commitment towards ensuring agriculture is given a pride of place. When we have that, you recall the issue of rice. If the government is determined, there's no reason for us to be importing rice. We have army of our youth that are unemployed. We have the virgin land, arable land, good for rice cultivation. So by the time we go, the totality of all this, we pursue them sincerely, then the minimum wage becomes reasonable, tangible,
All right, you can still join the conversation. This is still Rock City 101.9 FM. Citizens Forum is the program. 08107860000 and 0701-132-7096 are the studio lines to call to be part of the program. Facebook fan page is Rock City FM 101.
The thing working for us now is the unity among the labor movement. That's our strength. We are together. We are united. So it becomes easier to achieve any goal that we have set for ourselves. So there won't be any problem. I can't see anyone for as long as we are united. And with the interaction among ourselves, we have resolved to collaborate and work together in the interest of our people. So I'm not seeing any problem to address all this matter. The 33% increase you talk about, instead of the past government to do that, they just did a minimum pension and gave the least paid worker 5,000. It's an arbitrary award, So we are going to look into this, and when we are together, we can achieve anything that we have set for ourselves. So we are united in this. So people should not express any fear or, because this thing is due. It's just fair to the people that have served this country. So, and I want to believe the government of the day, by the time we put everything on the table, they will have no option than to do the needful, to do that which is the best interest of good people of Ogun State. So, the part of government, I don't foresee any problem. It is just for us to do our homework and come to the table with facts and figures, and then we will not have any problem. There was issue about this, there were issue about contributory pension deduction. We've talked about all this. Yes, previous government continued to deduct without remitting to PFA, and this government have also started that. It's going to be one after the other. We've had a lot of engagement, and we always make reference to issue of gratuity, issue of contributory pension. All these will be addressed. That is our job. That is what we have taken to do, and we cannot do one and forget about the other, because tomorrow when these people retire, it's going to be serious. Their retirement is going to be in a serious jeopardy. They will retire to nothing, and so we cannot afford not to take care of it. Well, it's a matter of law. The constitution of the negotiating team is a matter of law. It's not anybody team can just wake up and say, oh, no, this must be there. But if the laws are amended, then it can give room for more people into the negotiation. But the current law that we operate is defines who and who should be there. So, and what is more, the aim is to get the best for our pensioner. For instance, in Ogun State, we have 36 affiliated NLC. TUC has its own. It's not possible for all the unions to be on the negotiation table. It's the labor leader who interact with them, and then sector by sector, they know what is required of them, and there will few people will not go and represent them. So it's not when everybody you see them on the negotiation table that have the best. So I think that's all I will say about that for now. The issue of a PFA doing business, it's a matter of law, regulation. They are supposed to invest that. That money is not to be static. It's supposed to be invested so that you and I, over time, we also receive some interest on whatever our the value of money that we have contributed. We are supposed to receive interest. So if the money is not invested, if they not trade with that money, the interest will come from nowhere. So. Okay, someone said I'm trying to evade the issue of leave bonus. Maybe he must have joined us midway. Take things as stress and talk about, those outstanding issues. The leave bonus, gratuity, contributory pensions, those issues are outstanding. So I cannot come in and tell you that it's going to pay tomorrow. What I can tell you is that we are going to engage government and engage them constructively and sincerely on this matter. And what is more, if you have a sincere government, we look at the figures and this matter be addressed. So that is much I can say now. Well, upon employment opportunities, with all that the state government has promised, this regime has promised, by the time they open up the space, definitely, it can't be once and for all. You know, there will still need to engage more hands. We just pray that they follow up, you know, they live to their billing as per their plans and program for the state. So definitely there will be opportunity to engage more hands in the public sector, in the private sector. So payment of salary should not be like the caller that talk about running foul of the law. You see, we're talking of negotiation. Nigeria is a federating unit, you know, and when a law is passed, if not, then there wouldn't have been any need for negotiation. Well, it would have just been a fiat, which can only happen during military rule, you know, a fiat. So they made the decree, but we are in a democratic dispensation, and that is why we are going to negotiate. You see, labor unionism now is knowledge-driven. It's not about you asking for what you know is not possible. We are not to grant the state. We don't want to run the state at grant. Apart from paying salary, the government is also expected to do other things. Schools, infrastructure, the health system, and the rest of the agriculture we're talking about. So it must be such that the government will pay this salary and still have funds to run, you know, other activities that is expected of by the populace. So we cannot but be mindful of this. So it's not about closing your eyes and saying, yes, because it was done at federal level, April, then it must be so. We have to be realistic. Unionism these days is union-driven. Facts and figure. What is affordable and what is sustainable. And we consider all this, and that was why we agreed. Ordinarily, it will be good for us if we look at the pause and we believe the government can pay from April. Better for us. But the reality on ground, if you look at it, vis-a-vis other commitment of government, we're just talking about the contributory pension running to several months, leave bonuses several years, and don't forget also the pensioner too. There must be their pension thing must also be adjusted. So we don't want to be selfish. So that is why we have to consider the totality of this. So please, let's take off from there. 30,000, 30,500 is not the best, but then it is better than 18,000.
Right. Let's pick more calls. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
What I can say is this: the workers in Ogun State, we owe it to the entire citizens of this state to ensure that we contribute a quota towards the development of this state, to redouble our efforts to ensure that we take Ogun State to that level, you know, that we aspire to take it to. And this can only be done by more commitment, you know, by being diligent, you know, to our colleagues in our various offices. Our comportment and our attitude should be such that we encourage investors to come so that they can come and invest in the state and greater prosperity for all of us all. So we will not fail to do this by way of engagement with our people, using the various organs of the union, you know, to encourage them to be more diligent, more committed to their duties, so that we all can be better for it. And the citizenry, those who are not even government worker, cannot, when they have cause to do business with government, they will see change of attitude, the way we respond to them, the way we attend to issues. So we gave this commitment on behalf of the workers of the state of government, and we are going to ensure that using various organs of the unions, our people are carried along.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. This is Mr. Eric Ilini. I'm calling from Abeokuta.
Thank you for calling.
I admire the contributions and
Inflicted. Our people just take things for granted, they hide under to increase prices arbitrarily. Most of we should not give ourselves unnecessary problem. Some of those problems are not government problem, but because of our greed, you know, we want to take advantage of the system. And
You talked about the increment in VAT.
yes, even the VAT, yes, the VAT, some items were exempted from VAT. So people should not use that now to be an excuse to. Most of those commodities, they're exempted from VAT. They've been exempted. So it's not things that some people just hide under VAT to now increase. It is not good. Let us be fair to ourselves. We don't have price control board. There's nothing anyone can do. But then we need to be fair to ourselves. If government has been unfair to ourselves, is it again that we as citizens now continue that trend to be unfair to ourselves? I think we need to talk to ourselves. We should not have, because VAT, many of these commodities are exempted from, so it should not, people should not handle data to increase the price of commodity unnecessarily. Let us be fair to ourselves. Again, there was issue about this data capturing and this. One thing we need to get right is this: NLC is on both federal, state, and local workers, and even organized private sector. People in the so it's for everybody. The subject matter it talks about, I'm very much aware of it. Now, it's unfortunate the type of country we run, because I recall when the contributory pension was to be introduced by President Obasanjo, one of the things we were told was that if it is introduced, people will not need to queue as we are going 6 months, the thing is done. But unfortunately, see where we are today. And this is also a challenge to all of us as the people that we entrust political power on in this country. We must subject them to questioning. We must know them, because after giving them political power, they go there and they're only interested in themselves. Somebody will serve 4 years, will go away with 7.5 million as a civil package. Somebody that has served will not be able to. So, political power, we should be mindful of the people that we give political power to, because no sooner they get there, they only serve their own personal interest. So, it's unfortunate. But I think the Labour at national, we're also working on this to have a position, because I'm aware people that are retired in the federal civil service 1 year, 1.5 years after, nothing to collect. And it's even more, it's double jeopardy, because they don't even have a gratuity, you know, like we see have in some states. So no gratuity, nothing. It is very, very, very bad. And it's not encouraging. You are fighting corruption, and you are doing for people in the service who have a objective of stealing, we dare not want to, if they look at those who are retired and not for them, they want to prepare for the rainy day. And the system may force them to be unfaithful. The system can predispose them to doing those sharp practices. So the system has not been fair to workers. That is why when election time will come, this cash and carry thing, I think all of us will have a lot of work to do.
Okay, let me quickly ask this question. May I also ask that will this minimum wage increment affect private sectors? And if yes, how? What methods will they use to implement it?
It's only in the public sector that you have a lot of noise until you put threat or strike that things are done. Well, in the private sector, a good number of them, they have their trade group. In each trade or group, they have how this thing is being done. And some of them are doing it, some of them have done it, and the process is seamless there.
Okay, I think at this juncture we'll draw the curtains on the show. We really appreciate you for honoring our invitation. Comrade Emmanuel Bankole. And of course we look forward to more updates as regards development when it comes to labor-government relations. We'll also like to appreciate the presence of the SA2 Comrade Bankole on media, Comrade Olushola Ilori, and the consultant on media also, Amaba Taiwo. Thank you for coming. That's our show this Monday morning. Join us again tomorrow for a fresh edition. We start at early at 7 a.m. I remain TOBI Joseph.
And I am SIMIAT ABARU. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone that have been a part of the program.